much like the process that Ramon is following, I need to look to see were there sources of contamination. And it turns out in this area there were old facilities, industrial facilities that used lead in their process. These were facilities in operation the late 1800s, the early 1900s to the mid 1900s that used lead that could potentially have been emitted through their smokestacks and deposited in the neighborhood. Majority of the wind here is from the west and from the southwest. So the assertion is that these properties where the factories were that used lead could have deposited their contamination in the neighborhood. So working with Robert Peachy, who is our legal counsel on this project, we went and we looked at, and I'm going to show you my thought process that I went through to decipher this, but we found out where those old facilities were, and then we went to the current owners of those properties and asked them for access. So we could go on their property and take samples, and the idea is that back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they generated slag, which is a byproduct of their metal fabricating, and they filled in old canals, low spots, and I'll show you how we went through that process. And the idea is that we take samples there and we compare it with the lead that we find in the neighborhoods to see, was the lead that was used on this facility the same as the lead that we found in the people's neighborhoods. There's a process we use, it's called fingerprinting, where we can definitively say Ramon did it with H. Kramer, to say whether the lead that was emitted from that industrial process is the same that was found in the neighborhood. Entonces, ahorita estoy en un área de investigación aquí, al sur de Blue Island, entre Blue Island y el canal, donde estaban las empresas que utilizaban plomo en su proceso. Y la idea es encontrar a los dueños ahorita, la gente que están ahí en esos terrenos, pedirles acceso para tomar muestras a profundidad ahí y hacer una comparación entre el plomo que encontramos en los suelos aquí y el terreno aquí con el plomo que encontramos en los desechos que usaron para llenar el terreno en el área industrial aquí. 8 meses, quiero decir, que me regalen acceso a entrar sus terrenos, porque cuando la EPA se presenta en su puerta y les dicen que queremos entrar y tomar muestras, la gente pues piden ayuda de los abogados, ¿no? Para proteger sus derechos. So it took me about 8 months to get access to all these properties, because naturally the people that work there and the people that own those properties are concerned when EPA comes and asks to take samples on their property. So here's an example of one of those, and this is the one over here. These 5 properties, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are all in the footprint of an old factory called McCormick Works. This company then became International Harvester. They made reapers. They made the large apparatus that are used on farms to harvest corn. And they actually started with the raw materials, and they made those large machines there. They made engine casings, they made body casings, they made all sorts of metal parts using lead. That operation back in the late 1800s and early 1900s took this entire area of western Blue Island, 26, all the way down to 31st. So you can see I've got the Cook County Prison here, Westside Tech here, Roush YMCA here. This is a lot where Swift Transport parks a bunch of trucks. We had to go to all those properties, and we had to decide where we were going to take those samples. Entonces, este área ahorita tiene muchos dueños, la cárcel del condado de Cook, la ciudad de Chicago, la universidad ahí de Westside Tech, el YMCA de Roush, y una empresa de camiones y un parque aquí abandonado, no hay nadie ahí, pero ahí está la huella de una empresa grandísima que se llama McCormick Works, que hicieron las máquinas en los 1800, los años 1890 y 1920, 1930, esos años antiguos, andaban ahí en sus operaciones. This is a picture from 1938 of McCormick Works. So you can see they had rail offloading here, a lot of their manufacturing here, stockpiles here. This is where they stored their finished product. This entire industrial complex was McCormick Works. And what we did, with help from Robert, my colleague Robert, was look at these photos over time. This is from 1956. And I'll draw your attention particularly, here's the canal. The canal used to come up and go in to this property. This is all water, and in the olden days, this canal went all the way to Des Plaines River at Harlem Avenue. In 1956, you can see they're still developing, but we looked at where the stockpiles of slag, or their waste product from manufacturing, was being piled up. And those were the areas that we targeted for our sampling. And again, I'll draw your attention to this canal. In 1962, it's gone. So that canal right here was filled in by 1962. So naturally, we wanted to take samples here because the idea was that they filled it in with slag, which may contain that lead. And that's where we wanted to get our sample. Entonces ahorita estoy enseñando fotos antiguos de McCormick Works de 1938. Esta ahorita ven la huella de su fábrica, y ahorita hay un canal antiguo que tenía agua, y este canal corría hasta el río Des Plaines en Harlem Avenue en los días antiguos. Y ahorita 1956 todavía está ahí, pero ven stockpiles. Montañas de desechos ahí que tal vez contenía plomo ahí. Todavía está el canal. En 1962 desapareció el canal. Llenaron el canal con desechos de su empresa que contenía el plomo, lo mismo plomo que buscamos ahorita en el vecindario, en la colonia. Entonces, hicimos nuestros sondeos en estas áreas para encontrar la misma cosa que estamos buscando en la colonia ahí. Voy a enfocar un poquito más aquí en la cárcel de Cook, en esta área aquí, porque vimos mucha actividad ahí en los días antiguos, mucha actividad ahí, todavía mucha actividad ahí. Entonces ahorita escogimos los lugares de los sondeos ahí en el terreno de la cárcel ahí de Cook. Pedimos permiso del condado, nos dieron permiso, entramos y hicimos sondeos. So this is the Cook County property in particular, where we focused our soil samples, where we believed this material containing lead was stockpiled, so we could get a decent sample, and we can go back to the company that now owns the company, that owns the company, that owned the company, that owned the company of McCormick Works, to try to work with them and see if we can assign responsibility to them to pay for this cleanup, so the taxpayer doesn't have to pay it.